for sure. Milano's having an outstanding season.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how you can have the number one defense, number one by far pass defense, and not have one of their corners or safeties in there is ridiculous. And one more quick thing I want to throw out there. Yes, it is fan based. I think it's mostly offensive. I think it's a passing Pro Bowl because if you look at all the outside linebackers that have been nominated in, they're all 3-4 linebackers. They're all linebackers that rush the quarterback constantly. So if that's something that you're taking in consideration, then someone like Milano will never ever be voted into the Pro Bowl. And can you imagine having him have a Hall of Fame type career? And when they go in there to look at the stats and they say, well, this guy's never made a Pro Bowl
Yeah.
as a 4-3 linebacker, you're going to fault the guy for the type of defense he's playing. He's not rushing the ball all the time, taking his pass covering percentage as a linebacker, taking his pass deflections, taking away these number one tight ends in the league. That stuff doesn't go into consideration, which is really freaking annoying.
It's I swear to God, like the national media and the NFL just constantly want Bills fans to have something to like complain about so that they can point at them and be like, look how crazy they are.
They're complaining again.
It's just like yesterday with that Peoples-Jones, the pass interference on him at the end of the game, which was, it was like this compared to like Stephon Diggs, right? And yeah, I will say this. I'm not a Cleveland fan. I don't like the Browns. Literally, if they got rid of like 2 more guys, like after Odell was gone, that's cool. Actually, like 3 more guys. I think if Baker, Landry, and Hunt all left, I would be like, okay. And probably 2 of those guys are on their way out anyway after this season. So I might be back to being a Browns supporter here pretty soon. But
well, they're gonna have to pay Baker, so somebody's got to take the cut.
I don't think they're gonna pay him. Look at that game yesterday. God, dude, look at him. You know, like if the front office isn't in denial, and now the national media is starting to be like, uh-oh, Bill's Twitter blew up yesterday. It was like, oh, thank you, Cleveland, for choosing Baker Mayfield number 1 overall. Like, can you imagine the Browns if they had Josh Allen right now? You know, like, I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. It's like,
well, a lot of people say with that offensive line and running game,
yeah,
and having Landry, OJB, yeah,
OBJ, yeah. Yeah, I mean
OBG,
OJB. Yeah, I mean with all those players and that offensive line, like, wow, you know. I'd like to think that the Bills are closer because they have all of that stuff minus like the line right now, I would say, and the running back probably. But I don't know. I wanted to get into that later too. All the like love that's kind of currently been thrown on Motor. Like people are like, oh wow, well, look at him run. It's like, I think that's always been there.
And we've said that.
We've said it. Like that's always been there. It's not like, oh my God, look at now he's running. It's like, no man, they're actually calling the right plays and the line is actually making holes for him. And when he hits like the second guy, he's still moving the pile and he's like 4'4", you know. But yeah, I don't know. All this stuff. But I just with the Browns, the pass interference, the refs thing, I tweeted out a thing somebody else tweeted out that was like an amazing point to me, and I think that they should absolutely put this in practice, that the NFL refs should be accountable the same way as coaches and players and have to do press conferences
Press conference.
games.
That would be something.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I guarantee for the first couple months, you'd have more people at that press conference as far as the media than anywhere else.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Especially if there's a play like the Diggs play a couple weeks ago, or that pass interference that wasn't called yesterday. Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm. What were you guys thinking? There's 4 of you guys out there. You guys could have got together, made the call, changed the call, whatever.
How many times do you think they'll get asked if they were embarrassed?
Right. And you know what? These guys are lawyers and doctors, so they're used to talking in front of people. So put them out there. Let's see the BS that they come up with.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
And you're in front of the media, right? You're not in front of like hardcore fans. You're in front of people that are supposed to be biased or unbiased and kind of give you questions that are answerable, right? But man, I can see refs having to stand up and walk out of meetings a whole lot more than players or coaches do, right?
Right.
And you got to go to both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's what they have to do. They have to go to the winner and the losers, like press
Yep.
conferences.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe something will catch on. They'll finally do that since they're getting so much reprimanded so much just by the fans because no one else is doing it.
Love it.
We like to give everyone the actives and the inactives just to keep everyone in touch of who's going to play today. We obviously knew Beasley and Davis and Ford. And I don't know, was Epinesa still on that list as far as COVID goes?
I don't know.
I can't remember. But the actives and inactives are in. A couple surprising ones for me. Breida is out and Zach Moss is coming back. Last time Zach Moss played was against the Patriots. So I'm excited for that because I had a question on here. I was going to ask Swank, is Zach Moss's career as a Buffalo Bill in danger as far as being traded or something next year? But they activated him. And my biggest concern with that would be the Dable offense. Are they going to have Moss stretch the ball to the outside and Singletary do the dives, or are they going to do what we always tell them to do and say, send Moss up the middle? The guy is freaking a thumper. So that's something. We don't have the speed guy, but we do have Moss. Tommy Sweeney's inactive, and Star Lotullier. That's a question I think all Bills fans are asking. He's only made half the games. He had the COVID thing. Last I knew, his last injury report was a personal reason, so I don't like to touch. I don't like to go there.
Yeah.
But I think Star Lotulier's career might be over as a Buffalo Bill, to be honest with you. Deion Dawkins is active, so our offensive line is almost intact. Deion Bolker is probably going to be the left tackle. Morris.
No Feliciano?
No Feliciano. Well, was he active last week?
He was, but he was dressed, but he didn't play on the line a lot. Remember, we saw him on and off the field.
Yeah. So if he's not, he's probably there. He's probably there. So Feliciano or Bodker, Morris, obviously Daryl Williams will go back to the right guard, and Spencer Brown will be in his familiar territory at right tackle.
I think Felice was on the COVID list though.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Practice squad elevation. Someone that we actually talked about earlier this week on the K-Gun report, because we were mentioning what happened to Isaiah Hodgins.
Mm-hmm.
He's active.
Yeah.
He's active. The guy is huge, guys. He's a big red zone presence. He's 6'3", 205 pounds. He's out of Oregon. He's a 6th-round draft pick for the Buffalo Bills a couple years back. Came right out of the draft, had shoulder surgery, so he kind of was put to the back seat right off the bat. So this is something I think we potentially could see a Bills future player coming into the mix this week. Go look at his red zone targets and percentage of catch in red zone in college or Swank.
Yeah.
I think it's 20 for 20. And you could quote me on that if you want. His wingspan is crazy. He's got great hands, and now he's finally getting the opportunity to play for the Buffalo Bills. He's wearing number 16. And like I said, the last one on here, Zach Moss, active.
I would be interested to know why they started leaning away from Isaiah Hodgins in like training camp and all that stuff, and what happened, because obviously something happened where they really liked him last year and he got hurt, and then this year, I mean, I know that you have an overcrowded room with a lot of veteran presence, and then you got an emerging Gabe Davis, but I want to know, I guess, what happened where he kind of fell out of favor.
Right. I believe. I think it's the roster, the way the roster's set up. You have Diggs, you have Emmanuel Sanders. Of course, they're going to bring him in. There's two. Gabe Davis did what he did last year, so you're keeping him on the roster. You got to keep your two slot wide receivers in Beasley and McKenzie. So right there is what, 5?
Yep.
6. So I think it's just a matter of where he fell in the depth chart and the fact that the Bills are loaded. So when opportunity comes, you make the best of it. And hopefully we'll see him out on the field today, because that red zone percentage, Bills are not very good in the red zone this year. So that would be amazing.
They're picking it back up, I guess. This last week they did pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see a lot more of what we saw last week. I saw the playbook open back up. I saw some fake jet sweeps. I saw some direct snaps. Now you got Beasley out and you got Gabe Davis out, so you're getting Emmanuel Sanders back, and you have Isaiah McKenzie back there. You got 2 veteran speedsters that can take off with the ball, get the ball in their hands by any means necessary. I want to see screens to those 2. I want to see jet sweeps. I want to see misdirection. All that stuff works. Last week, and correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Josh Allen look so much more comfortable back there, and they were playing more of that stuff that they were doing last year? And I know
with a rookie left tackle.
Yeah.
He still look comfortable.
Yeah. Also, there's still a lot of Spencer Brown shade being thrown around. I'm really glad Deion's back in, because if they started him at left tackle, and people were like, "Oh my god!" One of my dudes that I really like respect and appreciate. I listen to him daily. Joe Marino from the Locked On Bills.
Mhm.
He was saying like, well, obviously we know that the Spencer Brown experiment at left tackle's over. He was horrible, and I was like, "Don't say that, dude." Because I love you. Like I love listening to you, but don't say that. Where are we at right now? I don't know, and this is not like a shot at Joe. I'll listen to him forever. He's very knowledgeable. Where are we at in our like fanhood that all of a sudden a rookie offensive lineman with a bunch of great physical characteristics playing out of position for the first time ever in the NFL,
I'm glad you're bringing this up.
like he has some flags thrown and the taunting call, and he learned from all of it. I would almost, and you were talking about this, I'd almost love to see him in this week just to see where he was at. I think the dude would, I think he'd crush it. You know, I
Well, you
don't
got to
know.
take all these things in consideration. You're right. How many rookies get drafted at the left tackle position? A lot. And they're put right out there right in the beginning of the season and they struggle. They
Hmm.
struggle. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Even Tony Baselli, great left tackle for the Jaguars back in the day, one of the highest prospected tackles in the league. He struggled a little bit, became an all pro, but it takes some time. Bring Spencer Brown in, who's lived his whole life at right tackle. Was told that Friday before that game that he's now going to be left tackle against the number two defense in the league. I'm sorry. If you're going to give these first round draft picks a year to develop, you're not even going to give this rookie left tackle that's played right tackle his whole life and has never been played the position a game.
I don't know.
You're right. Some people are just too quick um, to say that kind of stuff. And you know
Yeah,
what? Pretty sure we got to win out of that game.
yeah, we did,
And like
and
you said earlier, pretty sure Josh Allen looked pretty damn comfortable.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So
When you're not trying to mirror a great coach's game plan, right? Like that's the thing with like Belichick, man. Like he just plays his game. I don't think he really gives a shit what you do. I think he'll take away the best thing you do. He'll try to do that, and other than that, he doesn't care. Like he's gonna
yep.
play his game, and that's proven by the last time we played them, and by every single game the dude's coached in his whole career, where it's like they're just a disciplined team and blah blah blah, and it's like he'll throw a frill in here and there, but most of it is just hard nose, smash 'em up football, man. Like he
Yep.
just execute. His players execute for him,
Yep.
and
You're
I'm,
right.
I'm
He does pick what works well. He picks your strength, your biggest strength, and he'll defend it.
yep,
And anything else is just playing football.
yeah, that's it.
He did that against the Bills in the Super Bowl with the Giants. He took away Jim Kelly. He said, "We'll let Thurman Thomas tear us apart." And Thurman Thomas did. He would have been the MVP in that Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll let Thurman tear us apart. Jim Kelly and Andre Reed, they're all going to be at a minimum, and that's exactly what they did, and they won the game.
Yep.
Belichick's been doing that for 40 years, guys.
Ugh. Thorn in our side for 40 years.
Man, oh man.
Oh, we have Kevin Kenya, go Bills. We got John Johns answering Ellen Lart's question about how much did Brown get fined for the beer can deal last week. He got fined $5,000, as John Johns confirms, and I believe there's a bunch of people donating to his charity right now to make up that balance. So that's
Yep.
pretty cool.
Yep.
Then we got this guy, Gerard Red. He said, "Do I play?"
That's probably how he would pronounce it.
Our boy Jared said, "Do I play Singletary today? ... on fantasy." Man, this has got to be championship. Is this championship for you guys in your league?
He's got one more week because of the extra game this year.
Ah,
Yep. So this is the game to get you into the championship.
yeah. Okay.
So like he got 22 carries last week, 80 something yards, and he was involved in the pass game a little bit. What do you think?
I I want him to do well. I want him to be balanced. Dude, this is not going to be popular. I'm going to say sit him. Like, who is he playing? Is he playing against you?
No,
You want me to
no.
tell him to bench him?
Here's the thing. He's playing against Jake Cornball, who has Allen
Oh,
and Diggs.
oh yeah, no. I wouldn't waste a spot with Singletary unless he's your best guy on the bench. I mean,
You can flex him. Have
good
him be your flex.
flexing.
If you got other running back options and no flex option, I would definitely start Singletary. I don't know. Dable's been so unpredictable when it comes to
That's the thing.
strategy. 22 carries last week. You'll probably see him get 5 this week.
Kevin, no, Singletary. Cannot trust Dable's game plan. We need to throw to win. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I think we both agree on that. So I don't know, man. But then there's those games like last week, like you're saying, right? And we haven't. I know we still need to talk more about this Patriots game, but like Josh Allen got beat up for playing a below average game last week, and we talked about this on the K Gun. What the hell is? What are you talking about? It's
Yes,
like
number 2 defense in the league.
yeah,
Okay.
number 2 defense in the league, a solid performance through 3 touchdowns, like
Mm-hmm.
200 yards. Like we'd kill for that. Hey, do you guys remember Kelly Holcomb?
Remember that guy?
Remember JP Lossman, Trent Edwards? Like how many do I got to give you, dudes? I, listen, I would say coming in this week, like brass tacks, man, and steel balls. That whole team is coming in with the biggest chip on their shoulder. They think the whole national media thinks number one that they can't beat this revived, revamped Patriots team, which is a joke. The offense is a joke. Number two, half the team got snubbed on Pro Bowl nods after being half hyped. Jordan Poyer actually got some of the recognition he deserved this year, right? People were talking about him. People are circling him in our primetime games saying, look at this guy right here. He's a good old guy, this guy right here. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like talking about his story, his recovery, all that stuff, man. And he got snubbed along with his best friend and half that defense, which is the number 1 defense in the league. And then on the other side of the ball, the most explosive quarterback, and I'll say probably out of the mobile young quarterbacks, the most consistent. And if you want to argue Lamar with me, at least Josh Allen doesn't miss games, man. Like,
Yep.
and he's in there doing his thing. When he can do his thing, he's doing it. You know, which you cannot say about Lamar. You can obviously not say about Baker. You cannot say about Sam Darnold. You know, and even if you're going like classes beyond, look at Kyler Murray last night. Kyler Murray was a second coming last year. Now all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden they're winning games and they're saying, "Ooh, he just can't finish, or he can't do this, or if D isn't out there, then he's done, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever." You know, there's got to be a balance between like being athletic and being the flavor of the week and actually being a well-rounded quarterback. Josh Allen's way more dynamic because he can make the smart choices. He can kill you with his feet, and he can bomb it 80 yards. You know, like you legitimately have to account for all of those things when you're playing him. But just because he's a small town boy from Fireball, California, that went up to Wyoming, and now he's in Buffalo, everybody's like, nah,
Just your average run of the mill quarterback.
whatever. They'll cycle through another 5 of them again before they find a guy like Jim Kelly. I don't
Yeah.
know.
You know, in Josh Allen plays, the 5-yard run isn't just a 5-yard run. He's tackled 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and he gets you those 5 yards. So
Yeah.
he's got more heart than any of those guys in the same draft class that came out with him. Jared, stop asking fantasy football questions. You know the answer. Jackson
Jared
is
should
playing.
start a fantasy show, I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
Jackson is playing the 32 ranked run team in Houston Texans. Of course, you're going to start Justin Jackson over Singletary. All depends on what Eckler's doing. That's your advice. Um,
Bench
let's talk a
everybody.
little-
Bench everyone.
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the Patriots, Swank. Obviously, it's a home game in Foxborough, Gillette Stadium. I've been there. That's a beautiful stadium. I'm not
Oh, really?
going to take it. Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
Nice.
My wife got me a game, Buffalo Bills. We went together for the same price you could buy at the 200 seats at Buffalo, the real nice ones.
Mm-hmm.
You could buy at Foxborough and sit all the way in the back with the cement to your back with the wind and
Sweet.
rain in your face. Oh, it's expensive. But we walked in, and the first thing we see is Tom Brady's face with a big UGG sign. And I was like, oh, geez, this place is all about him.
Mm-hmm.
But they have the highlights. They have all the lighting. They have fantasy score, everything. That stadium is beautiful. But, what comes with that stadium, what comes with the Patriots is a pretty good goddamn record. Seems like they never lose there because of, stripes.
Yeah.
But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Yes, the Patriots are good. They're 9-5. They're that way for a reason. But we're seeing Mac Jones starting to fall a little bit, and it's getting exciting to see a little struggle. The guy that they said was the second coming Jesus and the next Tom Brady.
Sure.
But again, it's tough to play there. It's the fans are loud, the fans are crazy, nothing like the Bills Mafia. And you got to play the refs. So how do you see this panning out? Are the Bills going to come out on fire, just firing away, fire, bringing the blitz, trying to create pressure on Mac Jones, or do you
I
think they're gonna have the intimidation factor against Belichick?
No, I think that they'll bring the fire. I think Stevenson's out for this game, and he did some damage on us last matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let me see. I was just looking up their inactives.
I know they had a handful of wide receivers, Kendrick Bourne, and their number one target over there, Jacoby Myers. They all
Bourne
had.
Bourne is
Go ahead.
off the COVID list now,
Okay,
so he'll
naturally,
probably play. Nelson Aguilar will not be playing.
he had a concussion.
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
N'Keal Harry.
Nikhil Harry still dealing with his own health issue. They said, but
Okay,
they haven't. I don't know. This is a very Patriots report. I just want a list. You know what I mean?
yeah, because
God.
I have here a list of a whole bunch of third, fourth stringers with nothing in detail, but that's Belichick way. You never
Yeah.
know. But I know their line's intact. Isaiah Wynn, Ted Karras, David Andrews, Shaq Mason, Trent Brown. They've been there for a little while. They protect the quarterback well. Obviously, the stripes help out with that. Um, but the pressure, like I said, that stat I threw out earlier, second in the league in pass pressure and 12th in the league in blitz percentage.
Yeah.
I think
I
I think you bring it, don't
yeah.
you?
I think they come out swinging on him, and I think you need to. It's that same old, 24/7 BF mantra that I say every week probably. Shake him up. He's a rookie quarterback. He hasn't been asked to do much. People are talking about this kid setting records and being MVP for completion percentage and all this ridiculous stuff. Like a lot of these trophies don't really mean anything to me anymore. They're talking about Wentz being a candidate for MVP last night, and I was like, what? What has he done? Because he can hand the ball off to Taylor? Like, so now, right now, if you look at last year's MVP race and this year's, you're like, what?
What are
Aaron
they basing it
Rodgers,
off of?
Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes, and now Carson Wentz, Mac Jones, and Aaron Rodgers. Geez, I wonder who's going to win that. And
Yep.
you won't even talk about Jonathan Taylor. Anyway, sorry. So, yeah, I
And he
think that,
should be. He should
oh,
be.
yeah, 100%.
Mhm.
And he's also probably the guy on the Colts when we're not playing him that I like the most.
Mhm.
Next to Frank Reich. It's hard not to like him unless you're playing him.
Right.
I hate Wentz and whatever. But anyway, yeah, I think you bring the heat on him, pancake him. I think, the star thing, that was getting me a little bit. But I've said this the last couple of weeks too, man. Harrison has horrible Harry there. He's been turning on the heat, man. He's putting together a hell of a season, and kind of
He is.
quietly. But he's creeping right up. He's in on plays. If you watched that game last week, every run they stuffed, he was the first guy, like that the camera was on. He was right on top of those guys. So now you got him and Ed starting to heat up. You got these older guys that are still coming off, and making some stuff happen with pressures and stuff. I'd love to see Groot have another breakout game. It's like they figured him out, and now he's been kind of quiet, and he's still in there making tackles and stuff.
He's still making some tackles in
Yeah.
the backfield. Yeah.
But I want to see him blow it up, man. Like,
Yep.
I can't wait for him next year. But I
Mhm.
I would really love to see it happen this year. The next 3 games and in the
I'll tell you what,
playoffs.
Swank, when they're panning in from the line and they pull back for the defensive play, and I prefer this defensive line out there when they pull back and you got horrible Harry and Ed Oliver there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Letulier, I'm kind of over him now, and then you see
Yeah, I think he's
Groot
gone.
on one side and Epinesa on the other.
Yeah.
Not only do I get in my head, I'm thinking our futures right here. Look at this
Yeah.
defensive line, but then when the pans out and they do a play and they get a tackle in the backfield, it's like, damn, these guys they're gonna start meshing. They're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
they're going to start running their stunts so effective and the pass rush off the edge. You got to be excited for that.
Can you imagine? So with those 4 guys, can you imagine just like the raw talent you have, and then you have Harrison Phillips, who would be the vet guy on that line, right? And as level-headed as he is, and as hard as he works, and for a guy that was talked about where he could get cut in the beginning of
Beginning
this
of the
season,
season, right?
and him working his way back and getting better and then providing that kind of knowledge and leadership to those three dudes. Because I think Eddie's a smart guy too. I also think he's a hothead. So I think that, like, you need that other guy next to him being like, yo, calm down, pick your gap, smoke him. You know what I mean? And that's a great calming presence for him, Harrison Phillips. And then you got these two puppies on the outside that just like, ha, 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 you know? Yeah, man, it'd be great. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The puppies.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's definitely a defensive line we should be excited about. Now, if the Bills go ahead next year and in their first round draft another defensive lineman, I might have to question Beal a little bit. But Swank, we're coming up on our time. Let's talk real quick your score prediction, bold prediction, and X factors. You got those, or do you want me to start going?
No, I can go. You know, the fun thing about doing this show, aside from the fact that it is a ton of fun and it cuts out a part of the day that usually I would spend worrying or fidgeting or doing whatever, I really enjoy getting all this last minute stuff and the inactives coming out. And this has been a really great time, Scotty. I love it. The thing is that, like, from Tuesday to now, so much changes, right? So you literally get like that last look through the binoculars at this game so close, and you can change it. So if anybody's holding receipts, my score is probably not going to be the same as it was on Tuesday. So I'm sorry.
Mine never is.
Yeah. I think that this is a statement game for the Bills. The Bills need this game. The playoff implications, you can go from 7th to 3rd probably today at the blink of an eye. And I think that the cool thing about this Bills team is that they're starting to get it more together as the season goes on in December and into January, and that is what you want for a team, especially a team that's already been there. So I say the Bills win 27-13. I think that you're going to see Josh Allen with my bold prediction. He's going to put up a 350 air yards, and you're going to see Dawson Knox go buck wild with a 100-plus game. My X factor is actually going to be Mr. Harrison Phillips, and I think that he is going to be the man in the middle of that run game. I think that they're going to snuff that out early. They're not going to give up that big one that they have been the last couple games, and he's going to be a big reason why corking the dam, and that's going to let the guys on the outside eat.
I agree. And before I tell you guys my predictions, thank you, the Mafia Pandemonium, for joining us 11:30 every Sunday, and the Sunday sessions with Scott and Swank. Ryan Thomas joins us every Sunday. He's just under the weather this week, but we love having you on. We love talking pregame football. And like Swank said, there's a lot that changes in these 4 days from the previous Tuesday of the K-Gun report. My score, 35-17. I'm going to keep it the same. There wasn't enough, I think, in the actives and the inactives to change my mind. My bold prediction is I do believe Mac Jones is on the downfall. Mac Jones around 50% passing. It's going to be a struggle day for him, and I do believe it will be because of our front four. My X factor, defending the run. I know what happened last time we played them. They had 160-plus yard run, and the rest of the game we held them to 3.5 yards, which is pretty effective run defense. But I had circled Horrible Harry and Ed Oliver as my X factor. I think those two will play a big part, not only creating pressure, but getting in the backfield for a couple, if not a handful of tackles for loss in the running backs. Big game, guys. We're an hour away. As you can tell, the TV turned on. I have that on just so I get my hour warning. But it's a game we're going to be in the AFC East Championship. Right? We win this game. We're on top of it because of our division wins. And there's a lot of other games that play a factor. Swank, like you said, we're either going to be 7th. If we win this game, we're automatically 4th, and we can bump all the way up to the 3rd spot in the playoffs with a bunch of games still to play. Our future looks like the Falcons and the Jets. You hate to say that we're going to automatically win those games, but those seem to be games that fall into our favor. The Patriots are playing against Jacksonville next week, and then Miami, which is, I think, going to be the game that puts Miami into the playoffs and knocks the Patriots out of it, which would be hilarious. But I guess we'll have to find out. We got an hour until the game starts. Guys, cheer loud, drink safely, enjoy a couple beverages. Swank going to a Christmas party. Open your gifts quick, Swank.
Oh, I'm doing it after. I'm doing the gifts after.
All right. And like I said, you can find us every Sunday, 11:30 on the Sunday sessions with Scott and Swank. You can also find us on the K-Gun Report every Tuesday, 8 o'clock. We talk about the previous game and the next game coming up. And Jared joins us at that time. He's our lovely host that we have on Tuesdays.
Yep.
You can find me on Twitter at Scott247BF. And Swank, where else can we find us?
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at 247 Buff Fan 1 or Buff Fandemonium. You can also find me at Swank247BF. You can find Jared at Jared247BF. We also have podcast episodes. I haven't done the podcast audio episodes of these ones. I think I'm going to start doing that either next season or maybe for the playoffs or something. But you can find the K-Gun on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. I would say one last little thought that I had while we were going back and through is Milano. I think Milano is going to have a good game. I think the way they had him shooting gaps last time they played and figuring that out, I think you're going to see a lot more of that, a lot more aggression coming from Mr. Frazier. So, go Bills, man. This is our time. I think you're going to see them eat and make a huge statement.
Hey, I don't disagree with that. I believe Milano definitely is someone. They've seen enough of those run plays for him to recognize when that guard's falling and that trap play that was effective so much a couple weeks ago. And he's got a task in Hunter Henry. We see Mac Jones depending on him a little more every week. So Matt Milano definitely is going to be an X factor. Again, Swank, thanks for joining me every Sunday. We got a huge game coming up, guys. And sit back, enjoy. It's 4 quarters. It's not over at halftime. And let's cheer loud so they can hear us. Go Mafia. Go Bills. Cheers.
Go Bills.
This is a dangerous group.